in the early morning haze of Jamestown. Before the sun broke through the clouds, and before a cross stretched awake, a young boy named Nii Tetteh stood barefoot on the cold sand. The sea wind brushed against his face, carrying the smell of salt, hope, and destiny. Beside him stood his grandfather, Togiblarea, one of the oldest fishermen in the community. The old man's eyes had seen storms that tore boats apart and mornings so gentle they felt like blessings. But today he was quiet, watching the waves rise and fall like a heartbeat. "Listen," he said to the boy. Nii closed his eyes. He heard the waves, the distant calls of fishermen, and the Kapanalogo drums from last night's rehearsal fading into memory. "What do you hear, grandfather?" Nii asked. "The voice of our people," Tog replied. "The GA have always followed this sea. It speaks, and we listen." Nii wanted to be a fisherman too, just like his father and grandfather. But times were different now. His friends in school said fishing was an old life, a hard life. They wanted a new, shine, tall buildings, office jobs, and dreams made of glass. But Nii felt something different, something ancient pulling at his heart. One day, the community prepared for Homowo, the festival of triumph over famine. Women pounded palm oil into the sea pakpoi. Men raised the long wooden canoes, and children ran through the alleys of Gamashi, their laughter louder than the drums. Homowo was not just a festival. It was a memory, a reminder that once the GA faced hunger so deep it threatened to wipe them away. But they survived. They grew stronger, and every year they told the famine, "We mocked you. You did not win." On the eve of the festival, a fierce storm hit the coast. Waves smashed against the rocks, lifting boats and throwing them like toys. The fishermen gathered, their faces etched with worry. Among the boats carried away was Togebla, a vessel that had been in the family for generations, a piece of their very soul. Everyone feared to go near the water. But at dawn, Nii Tetteh rose, and just like his ancestors who stepped into the unknown centuries ago, he walked toward the raging ocean. The tide had calmed only slightly, but broken pieces of wood floated near the shore. He waded in, pulling them out one by one. His small hands shook, but his heart didn't. Not when he remembered his grandfather's words. "The sea will test you, but it will also teach you." The community gathered around him, watching the small boy defy the powerful sea. Inspired by his courage, the men joined in, pulling more pieces of the boat ashore. And as they worked together under the rising sun, they didn't just rebuild a boat. They rebuilt a legacy. They reaffirmed their bond with each other and with the ocean that defined them. By afternoon, the sun broke through the clouds, shining bright over Jamestown. Homowo began with singing, laughter, and the sprinkling of sipokpoi through the streets, a celebration of life and resilience. Grandfather placed his hand on Nii's shoulder, his eyes filled with pride. "Today," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "you did not just save a boat, you saved our story." And that day, Nii understood what it meant to be GA. To stand when others sit, to rise when the storm pushes you down, to carry the strength of ancestors in your chest and walk forward with unwavering courage. The sea would always challenge them. Life would always test them. But the GA spirit unbroken, unshaken would always, always rise. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please subscribe, like, and share it to keep these powerful traditions alive. Follow us for more stories that connect us all.